I was like, I'm quitting. He's like, what do you mean you're quitting? I'm like, well, I've been doing this real estate thing. He's like, what do you mean doing this real estate thing? And I told him I had 23 rentals. I had several more under contract and I was going full time into real estate. His response was like, holy bleep, how did you do that so quickly? What is it that you want and why aren't you moving closer to it? So let me share something with you. A hungry heart hears best. A hungry heart takes action. A hungry heart is motivated. If you're not moving towards your goals and what it is that you want in your life, what it is that you want in your business, you've probably lost your hunger. You've probably lost your edge because you got comfortable. You created maybe a low level of success. You got a job and you're paying your bills and you've lost your hunger. I will tell you that's a dangerous place to be in. If you're in this place where you're complacent, you've got this cush life, you need to take a good hard look in the mirror and you need to figure out what in the hell it is that you really want in life. Are you really going to be happy with mediocrity, with middle class, with just settling? Because at some point in time, you had a big vision, you had some goals, and you stopped moving towards them. So you need to stop and assess and make sure that what you're doing today and the path that you're on for the next 5, 10, however many years is really where you want to go. Because most likely it's not. This is how the masses live. I remember when I was broke, living in an apartment, I had no money, I had no outlook of having an amazing life. It was like mediocrity was the prescription that society prescribed, and I was taking it dose by dose. The problem was I got very hungry. I got very uncomfortable, and there was a lot of pain in that place that I was in. And I thank God for this all of the time, because from that pain, it led me to a place of power. Because if you're not hungry, then you're just going to come up with excuses to help you to procrastinate from taking the actions that you really need to do. And so going back to that place where I was stuck at this job and I was just over broke, barely paying my bills, and I had this dream and I had this vision to start investing in real estate, even though I had no money. And I didn't even know how to get started, but I figured it out. And I remember a conversation I had with a coworker of mine. And this is the 3rd month after I started in real estate, going from nothing. And I told him, I'm like, man, I'm going to do this real estate thing. He's like, man, that sounds like I've been thinking about doing that too. That sounds amazing. I don't know if my wife will let me, but that would be amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I think so. That's why I'm doing it. And I just took action. I stopped talking about it. But 2.5 years later, less than 2.5 years later, I had 23 rental properties 2 years and 3 months later, and I was putting in my 2 weeks notice. So I had another conversation with this guy, and I was like, I'm quitting. He's like, what do you mean you're quitting? I'm like, well, I've been doing this real estate thing. He's like, what do you mean doing this real estate thing? When I told him I had 23 rentals, I had several more under contract, and I was going full time into real estate, his response was like, holy bleep, how did you do that so quickly? And the answer was, I was hungry, I was driven, and I was focused. I knew what I wanted, and every single day I woke up, I had a mission to accomplish to drive me to that goal. So my friend, wherever you're at, get clear about what it is that you want. And if you're not taking action and moving towards it, you got to figure out why. And most likely, you're just not hungry enough.